Well, hello. Today we got a video request. I'm super excited. It's Heidi, by the way. Uh, Making another video for you today. I got a request about what do you do when you have an alcoholic or an addict in the home? It could be a husband, a child, a parent even, and you make the decision. Maybe you've gone to some Al-Anon meetings or you've done some work on yourself, and you make the decision that you are going to go ahead and pursue your own happiness, right? You're going to start taking care of yourself. You're going to do the things that you need to do in order to take charge of your own life and not put all your energy into the addict or alcoholic. And a real interesting phenomenon happens whenever you start to do that, whenever you start to take care of yourself. And what that phenomenon is guilt. Guilty feelings for a couple things. Guilty feelings for standing up for yourself sometimes when you start setting boundaries with the people around you. Guilty feelings for taking care of yourself even. And it really creates this internal conflict because on the one hand, you know that you need to be taking care of yourself, right? You know that all the attention and effort and time that's gone into fixing this issue is really not hasn't been working. And so there comes a time where maybe your health starts to suffer, your mental, physical, emotional, or financial health, and you go, okay, I need to start taking care of myself, right? But what do you do about the guilt? I thought this was such a great question today. So I'm really excited and happy to be answering this question for you. If you have a question that you would like answered, make sure you're commenting on these videos and letting me know or sending me a message, and I'm happy to make a video for you. That's why I do these, is to make sure that I'm serving you. This can be a really frustrating experience, really not knowing what to do. Let's talk about the guilt. There are really two things I want to talk about when it comes to this kind of, it's almost like survivor guilt, right? Everybody else is struggling. So the first thing is, where does this behavior come from? 9 times out of 10, if you end up in a relationship with an addict or an alcoholic, this isn't your first rodeo at that. Many of us grew up with addicts or alcoholics or dysfunctional or abusive people, and we actually, because that hasn't been healed, we end up attracting it in our lives later on in order to heal it or to repair the damage, like fix what we couldn't fix back then, right? We kind of just like project all that onto this new relationship. And so here we are. But when you're a kid, you learn very early on that your needs do go to the wayside, right? Instead of like in a healthy family dynamic where the parent takes care of the children, 9 times out of 10, when you're a kid and you're in that dynamic, you're the kid taking care of the parent. And it's selfish of you to worry about yourself when things are falling apart at the house. It's just not a luxury that you could have when you're growing up in an environment like that. All your focus and attention literally needs to go on the addict or alcoholic. And so you learn that behavior and it gets ingrained in you. And then we set out into these adult relationships and kind of continue to mimic the same behavior. So I know, for me, when I was a kid and I was growing up in that environment, it was like, as long as I felt like I had some sense of control that way, a false sense of control, right? But if I'm managing the house and taking care of dad and making sure that he's not driving drunk or falling down the steps or making sure he eats or taking care of the siblings or doing whatever I need to do, then there's really no time for me to worry about what I need. That's the safety of the house is the primary concern. And so it's kind of like that when you're living with an addict or an alcoholic. You can feel guilty about taking care of yourself when the safety of the house is an issue. How can you possibly be happy or living your life when there's all this uncertainty that's going on? So it feels really conflicting inside, and that's where that guilt kind of comes up. Like, how dare I focus on something else when this is so much more important than me? It's not true, but it certainly feels that way in the moment. And the other piece is, if you got scolded or reprimanded as a kid for actually focusing on yourself or having your own feelings or your own problems when there was so much other problems going on in the house, it's like, how dare you have a problem when this big problem is over here? So you get talked out of your feelings and talked out of that very early on. So we repeat those patterns. When I would work with addicts or alcoholics and they would want to have any epiphanies into recovery, that like what they want to do is like get the download and just be free, right? They just want to be done with it once and for all and have the magic answer or the panacea that's going to cure everything. And what I would tell them as I was running groups with them, I'd say, look, you addiction is a behavior, is a is a behavior, right? You behaved your way into addiction. You don't wake up one morning and get addicted. You behaved your way in. And so the only way out is to behave your way out of addiction. It's one decision at a time, one behavior at a time. And such is true with overcoming the guilt of you being your own recovery and taking care of yourself in this process. So don't expect the guilt to go away and then you start taking better care of yourself. Expect to take care of yourself and the guilt will start to go away eventually. Right? So it's not that just a chicken or the egg. You have to continue down the path of the commitment that you make to be well no matter what, to be well in spite of what's happening. But that leads me to the second point. And I think this is a deeper understanding of this question, and I want to offer you this perspective today. It might not be true in your situation, but if it is, it's definitely worth looking at. I think, and I've seen many times in the hundreds of families I've worked with that have this dynamic in their house. Let's just pretend it's a husband and wife, okay? The husband's alcoholic, he's in and out of recovery, he's having his challenges, he's off and on. And the wife says, I want to pursue my own happiness. I want to start taking better care of myself. I want to start feeling like my old self, whatever it is that she wants to pursue that'll light her up. Do you know sometimes the reason that she doesn't do that? She'll say it's guilt, and okay. But if we look a little deeper, we see sometimes the wife doesn't want to pursue her happiness because she doesn't want to give the husband the idea that what he's doing is okay, right? If I'm happy, you're suddenly going to forget that you're making me miserable. That's something to think about. If that dynamic is present and you're doing your self-deprivation dance, okay, in order to have somebody else wake up, like you're playing a martyr and you don't even realize it, oh, I can't be happy because look what you're doing to the family, and you think that's going to work. You think that you being in this constant compromised position of sadness or grief is going to help them turn the light on. Nobody's home anyway. That's not going to turn the light on. And if it was going to turn the light on, it would have turned it on a long time ago. Now I remember as a little kid just feeling like if I just sit here and don't have any fun when my dad's drunk at the playground or wherever we are, and I don't play on anything, he'll get the hint that I'm not happy with him, that he's drunk. It's not playtime right now. So I'm going to withhold my own joy and happiness so that my dad knows what he's doing to me. And you know what? It never worked. Why? Because dad didn't know if it was raining or if it was Tuesday, let alone if I was sitting on the bench or on the seesaw. Okay? And just like the husband who's actively using or not working his recovery program, he's not going to notice the wife didn't go to her dance class or the wife didn't go take, great care of herself. He's just out to lunch. So if you think you're mitigating anything, if you think you're helping something land, you're not. So with that off the table, it's okay for you to enjoy yourself. You can enjoy yourself and still be dissatisfied with somebody at the same time. You don't have to constantly be a walking demonstration of your pain, if that makes sense, okay? And if it does, let me know. I really want to know if you smell what I'm stepping in, okay? If you're picking up what I'm laying down, because that's like a deeper understanding of your own behavior. And knowing yourself and why you do the things you do is really the epiphany that we all need to break free. Awareness is the first step. Like, why am I doing what I'm doing, right? What is the payoff for me? Third payoff, I lied. There's three things I just discovered, okay, that I want to share with you. The third thing is we do it because, yes, we feel guilty, that's ingrained, or we do it because we're trying to get them to change their behavior and see how unhappy we are. But a third reason we do it is because if they're suffering and we're not suffering with them, we think that they will get the idea that we don't love them or that they will love us less. So we think that our being in pain when they're in pain will bond us together. It's not understanding the difference between sympathy and empathy. Sympathy is I can look at you struggling and not have to be struggling with you. Or empathy is I can look at you struggling and not have to struggle with you. Sympathy is like I have to crawl in the hole with you so you know I get it. I have to be sad too because you're sad. And if you're sad and I'm not sad, then I don't love you. I'm not in the trenches with you. You know who does that a lot? Moms and kids that are addicts. One of my family members during a training raised her hand and she said, well, you know, the old saying, you're only as happy as your sickest child. And I thought, well, then you're never going to be happy. I get where that you're coming from, but that doesn't make you a better mother, because your sadness doesn't make you a better mother. Your ability to recognize sadness in other people makes you a really good mom, but your ability to be sad with, all that does is make everybody compound the misery. All right. So the biggest favor you can do yourself and your family, especially if you have other family members around, other children, is to pursue your own happiness, even in the midst of other people's pain. Stay in your empathy, be conscious of what they're going through, but stay committed to being an independent person. That's moving from codependence to independence and really allowing yourself to feel what you feel, have your own set of beliefs, thoughts, and feelings that are going on independent of the other person's struggle and pain. All right. I love you so much. Thanks for sending in that question. Hope that's been helpful for you. As always, feel free to reach out. Let me know if you have a topic you want covered, and I'm happy to do it for you. All right. Take great care. I'll see you really soon. Bye.